The afternoon class passes. Once again, I find myself without a plan for something to do after school, so I head to the library to return a couple of books I finished reading. Walking inside, I see that there are about as many students here as there were on Tuesday, all the more evident from the almost total silence enveloping the room. As I drop the books, I borrowed into the return slot on the counter. Yuko suddenly pops up from behind it, quite startled from the banging they make as they hit the trolley next to her. Wait, no. Sorry, Yuko. Didn't mean to startle you. No, that's fine. It happens a lot. I'm used to it by now. Can I help you? It's okay. I think I know where everything is. Thanks, anyway. I suppose we'll grab another book or two while I'm here. There's not much else to do, and after reading so much during my stay in the hospital, it's become a hard habit to break. You know, honestly, the way you just put the books down with a loud thud, I totally wouldn't do it that way. I always kind of do things in a kind of quiet way, which is probably why, like, people just, like, whenever, like, I walk into a room and nobody notices for a while, they're just like, bloody hell, breathe, something, make noise. It's like people, like, move around like trampling elephants or some shit. And there's me, just kind of like, glide. And it's the same with stuff like that. When I put something down, I don't put it down like a kind of pfft. I put it down like quiet, gracefully. I don't even know, man. Essentially, I don't tend to, like, you know, be the type that I just be like, okay, just bang it down there or there. I put it down gently. So, like, part of me, like, instinctively, don't make a lot of noise. It seems kind of completely different to my commentary, doesn't it, where it's just, like, overly loud. But that's just how it is. I wandered down to the fiction section towards the back of the library, scanning the bookshelves for anything that catches my eye. So I do look over the corner where Hanako had been the last time I was here, not really expecting anything to come of it. Surprisingly, though, she's now absorbed completely in a fairly thick book. I decide against intruding on her like last time and get back to finding reading material. After an inconsiderable amount of time spent pursuing the aisles, I finally decide on a couple of books to get and slide them off the shelf. With a minimum of fuss, I quickly walk over to the counter, check out my books, and pop them into my bag as I walk out. By the time I leave the main building, sunset isn't too far away. A small trickle of students remains, but the majority have left, presumably to their homes and doors. Feeling utterly drained, I head to my room to read the books I borrowed. There's been enough action and excitement for one day already. The first is Alice's Adventure in Wonderland. I know the story, of course, but I've never actually read the original book. Well, same boat there, I suppose. It's just as trippy as I remember the story to be, with the wacky characters and nonsense plots. I start thinking of myself as some kind of an Alice too, haplessly tumbling down the rabbit hole into this crippled wonderland. Okay, that's a rather strong expression. Still, the isolated location and the overt way the school accommodates to absolutely everything is unsettling. It's like another world. I wonder why I can't shake the feeling of being an outsider like Alice, despite most everyone being so hospitable and friendly with me. Turning another page, my mind starts drifting further away from the book. It's quiet, I can hear my heartbeat pumping against the fabric of my shoes. For some reason, it makes me feel really bad, like it has since that time in the forest with Iwanako. Like I was locked in a cage with something nasty and scary. I put the book down for a while and stare at the ceiling, taking my time to shake off the feeling. 200 pages later, I fall asleep. 200 pages later? How many hours was you reading? Maybe I'm just a slow reader, but usually when I read a book, it takes me maybe 2 days to read through a whole book, and that's if I'm very persistent with it. I haven't read a book in freaking long time, though, but when I used to, it would take forever. It's I had the same kind of thing where, you pick up the book, can't put it back down, because you're just, going from one chapter to the next. It's like, I must know what happens next. But it doesn't, feel like I can read through, a whole book in just, a few hours, and that's it. The same with games. It takes quite a while to complete a game. Well, some people complete it in, a short amount of time. It's like, how does that even work? Wait, here it comes. It lied to me! It must be a different one, because that did not sound right. Students roll into class for the Saturday morning session, each and every one of them sprouting the tired eyes of people that have worked through the night. If only a day left to prepare, I suppose it's not so surprising. Thankfully, we only have to suffer through classes until lunch break, and then our time is our own. With all lectures into class in a tired stagger, I suppose students aren't the only people here that enjoy their late Friday nights. Not saying a word, he scrolls some page and question numbers on the board and slumps down at his desk. It's completely atypical behavior for him, but it appears that no one in the class is going to call him out for it. Wordlessly, the students shuffle their textbooks into position and get to work. Not one to break the trend, I do the same. Fatigue has made the class antisocial, and not a peep is heard among the ruffling patrons. That can partly be attributed to the two empty seats beside me. For some reason, Misha and Shizune aren't present, probably doing council work for the festival. It's very quiet without Misha present. I wonder if she was born as rowdy as she is, or if she is making up for Shizune's lack of voice. I don't know, because I haven't actually gone through Shizune's route to find out more of her character, honestly. Nakai, can I speak to you for a moment? I'm so engrossed in thinking about Misha that I don't even notice Muto approaching my desk. Sure, what's this about? It's probably better if we speak outside the classroom. Something about this doesn't sound too good, but I stand up and follow him out into the hallway. Mido stands in the hallway scratching his head as he works out what he is trying to say. Not knowing what's going on, I wait silently. I heard from the school's head nurse that you had an incident the other day. Ah, so it's about that. Well, kind of, but it's not anything to be worried about. Yes, it is. Anything that can endanger your health is something to be worried about. We try our best here to prepare you for life here. Part of that involves knowing your limits and how to work around them. It would be remiss of me if I didn't speak up about this. Alright, I get it, I'm sorry. Widow closes his eyes in frustration, and I realize that this probably wasn't the best thing to say. Something tells me that you're not sorry. Pretend as much as you want, but this isn't a normal school. A lot of people have put in a lot of time, effort, and money to make sure that you and every other student here can have the same level of education as your peers. For you to abuse that by throwing out advice, especially medical advice, is plain selfish. Not quite sure if this is actually how he feels, or if it is some act that he's practiced many times to guilt-trip students into doing the right thing. Either way, it's working. I understand. This is all new to me, and I apologize. I know my limits now, and I'll be sticking to them. Mido appears to lighten up a little, satisfied that his message has been received. So then, on to my next question. How are you finding your studies? I understand you were laid up for a while. We're not too far ahead, are we? I don't really think so. I tried to keep up when I was in the hospital, so it hasn't been too hard. Mido taps his chin and raises an eyebrow as he absorbs this information. Is that so? I suppose there are still students out there that realize the importance of learning. I wouldn't go that far. I was only trying to keep myself occupied in my little life support prison. Well, yeah, you've got to keep up with these things, right? That's exactly it. One wrong move in this world and you're left behind, right? Right. Wouldn't want that happen. No, you wouldn't. Every week there's a new scientific discovery. Most of them mean nothing to the layperson, but any one of them could be the key to the next big thing. I'll keep that in mind. It's obvious that Muto's serious talk is over. He's gone back to his standard, slightly scatterbrained approach to life. I think in hindsight that I prefer him this way. He's slightly more predictable in his unpredictability. Well then, I think that's all I really had to say. Let's get back inside, shall we? My relief is that suggestion is insurmountable. Sure, you're the boss, right? Mido pauses for a moment. I don't think any of my students have ever said that to me before. For an instant, I consider replying to this, but something deep in me tells me to shut my mouth and get back into the lab. Theater students jump at the sound of the door, rapidly trying to pretend that they are working on the questions on the board. Some don't even bother, their heads slumped on the desk as they nap. Thankfully, it would appear that Mido does not even notice them. He returns to his desk and retrieves a scientific journal from one of the drawers. I guess I got to him there. The class returns to their near silence as Muto and I left it in before our chat. Mixed feelings of tiredness and anticipation buzz around the room. Everyone here is either waiting for a chance to rest or the chance to get their last-minute preparations underway. The clock on the wall slowly ticks the remaining class time away until finally the bells cry out, ending the torments. Before you all leave, I expect the answers for those problems by Monday. The class sighs as one, instantly regretting slacking off but still acutely aware of the more pressing issues at hand. The classroom empties in a blink as everyone rushes to their last-minute festival preparations. I stay behind and try to quickly finish the questions so I don't have to bother with it over the rest of the weekend with the festival and all tomorrow. Apart from me, Hanako is the only one left, obviously waiting for Lily. It's weird that Lily comes all the way to our classroom to pick her up, but I expect that moving around is at least normally harder for her than it is for Hanako. But it's none of my business and I naturally don't ask about it from Hanako. Despite the relative proximity of our seats, Nahara tries to strike up a conversation about that or anything else either has to interpret. Let's see if silence falls upon the classroom. Time passed in silence is probably just 50 minutes or so, but it feels longer. I turn pages of my notebook. Hanako turns pages of the novel she's reading. My pencil laid splinters against the paper just when I was about to finish a paragraph. The sounds of my irritated sigh and subtle fumbling around for a sharpener feel like they're breaking the mood in the classroom. Hanako keeps her eyes firmly away from my direction. For long, Lily's tall figure appears in the doorway. Hanako? Her name is all it takes to make Hanako jump from her desk and run to Lily. They talk quietly for a moment, but it isn't long before Lily leaves down the hall and Hanako idles back into the classroom, taking her seat once again. I watch Hanako out of the corner of my eye and out of sheer curiosity at the idea that the two would be separated. For a couple of minutes she does nothing but sit with her chin in her hand, staring at the desk dejectedly. The boredom evidently becomes too much for her though, her slender frame reaching into her bag and pulling out a small book. Come to think of it, that isn't the one I saw her reading at the library. She must be quite a fast reader to get through them at this rate. After about 10 minutes of restlessly shuffling in her seat and trying to read, Hanako closes her book and leaves too. As should I, since the assignment is all but finished and there's nothing else to do in the classroom. Not that I have anything to do anywhere else either, though. The school is a beehive activity, but nobody pays me any heed. Somehow past classrooms filled with students frantically doing this and that, buzzing around like little worker bees. You wouldn't guess the school day is over. It's a bit quieter outside, but not by much. People zip by left and right hurriedly as quick as they can, busy and energetic. I feel the opposite. The midday sun seems to be draining all the spirit out of my body, making it feel limp. Warm, soft air blows inside my shirt, feeling like a cushion. I yawn lazily, thinking about what I do. I'll drop my books off at the dorms first, and then something I haven't decided yet. Maybe Kenji's in his room. On the way to the dorms, I spot Emmy coming my way, running despite not having those weird running prosthetics on. I wave at her and she skids to a stop. Yo, it's Al! Splatters of white and green paint adorn her nose and chin respectively. Her smile is wide as it seems it always is. She leans close to me, amplifying the feeling she is examining me. What you doing? Nothing really. I don't have anything to do for the festival and everyone else seems to be doing something important. That's perfect, then you can help me in rain. With the festival preparations, I'm not sure if I would be of much help. That's fine, I'm not much help either. Amy grabs my wrist and starts dragging me back inside the school quite forcefully. Even her walking speed is more like jogging, make me stumble over myself simply trying to keep up. The stairs slow Emmy down a little bit. Maybe it's hard to climb with her legs, or maybe she's finally run out of breath. We go all the way back to the third floor on the seniors' hallway, ending up where I left 5 minutes ago. I could just as well have stayed here waiting for Emmy, had I known. So are you, is Rin working on that mural still? That's right, she needs all kinds of paints and brushes and stuff, so I went to get them from the art room. Last room. Same thing. And you need me to help with that. Well, Rin told me you had already helped her, so I thought you wouldn't mind. I see. So thanks to Emmy's flaky logic, here I am again, collecting stuff from the art classroom for other people. The room is empty apart from ourselves and a lonely spectre of dust floating in the air. Emmy skips straight away to the back wall, digging out a tiny crumpled piece of paper from her pocket. While she tries to make sense of the scrawled handwriting, I take a closer look at the materials lying around her. Dozens of paint cans and bottles are arranged on the shelves in a most unorganized fashion. Some look like they have been left there for several decades, relics of previous art club generations. Allow me to adjust my sitting posture, because really, I should really, sit in a better sitting posture than with the legs crossed, like I mentioned a million times. So I shall do that there. Next to the heavy stacks of neatly piled drawing papers are boxes full of different sized brushes and unsorted crayons. The smells of paint, turpentine or whatever, and fresh paper float in the stale air, mixing in my nostrils to form that unmistakable scent of art. Emmy studies her notes, comparing them to markings on the various paint cans, then passes them to me as she finds the correct matches. She stretches her neck to look on the topmost shelf, but it's not quite enough. Her eye level stays below the shelf no matter what she does. Emmy gives up and just looks up to the shelf longingly like a child at a toy store, huffing in annoyance. After a moment of building anger, she starts jumping up and down, apparently trying to speed read the labels during the fraction of a second she can see them and catch what she can. It's no surprise that she feels miserably and almost manages to bring the entire shelf crashing down. Now I see why me lending a hand here would be useful. Go on, let me do that. You can't jump high enough and I don't want you to hurt yourself trying. Also, I'm like twice your height. You are not! She turns around, flaring scorn, flushed cheeks and all. Just kidding. Anyway, I'll look up there, okay? She glares at me one more time, but can't come up with a retort with a grudging turns her back to me. So I begin glancing around the top shelf of paint while below Emmy crouches to scavenge what she can from the cupboards. I shake my head a little after double-checking to ensure she can't see me do so. Emmy having a complex about her height was a surprise. I wouldn't have joked about it otherwise. She seems easygoing, but yes, everyone has their weak spots. Early after we have almost all the items collected and spread out on a desk like a treasure hunter's piles, do I realize that it wasn't necessarily the height jab that got her riled up. She might not like to be told that she can't do something like jump. But Emmy herself seems to have forgotten all about it already. Quick to anger, quick to forgive. She is that type of person. At least she doesn't seem to have taken anything to heart, as she chatters away happily while we pick up the rest of the items and then make our way back to reading. I cheerfully carry the bulk of the materials as we make our way towards the dormitories. Rin is really stressed out about getting her painting done. It's her own fault, though. She should have started earlier. Is she going to make it? No idea. It looks good to me, but with Rin, you never know what's going on. I found her this morning lying in front of the dorm in field position. She hadn't slept all night. I can't believe that the night nurses hadn't found her. And now she's painting again like crazy. Yeah, I've noticed that she comes off as kinda unhinged, so to speak. Emmy giggles at that as well as at my likely too obvious awkwardness. I don't mind it, she's a little weird sometimes. On that, I can agree with her. Unlike me, Emmy seems to be cool with Rin's whatever it is that feels so off about her. Still, they don't feel close like Mission Shizune do, with them working as a single entity sometimes. It's hard to say where one ends and the other begins. Even though they're so different, just like Emmy and Rin are. And Rin is the most different of them all, different from anyone else I've met. Yeah, I guess she's a very unique person. And returns to that word again as if it encompasses Rin's personality by itself, but really it's just a substitute for a lengthy description of her oddities. Emmy giggles as I grasp out for a properly descriptive word. She's just weird. You know, earlier she just spent half an hour sitting on her box and stared at her toes. She giggles again in a way that makes me think she doesn't know what's funny about it. It just is. All that time. Working area is a mess, but the mural itself is taken over ever more of the world since I last saw it. The disfigured human figures have been mostly colored in tones of red, pink, and orange, weird, imaginary things populating the spaces between. It looks nice. I can't think of any word that would describe the work consciously and comprehensively, so I settled myself on a nondescript nice. But honestly, it seems that the area around the wall becomes untidier at the same rate as the mural progresses. The ground is littered with dozens of paint cans, various art supplies, and empty soda bottles. Rin herself in the center of this chaos, standing there looking very cozy, as if she was a natural part of the scene. Her pink legs have been rolled up to her knees, exposing her thin legs, which sport a drying spectrum of wall paintings similar to those on Emmy's face. Emmy sprints to Rin ahead of me and gleefully jumps in front of her. I'm back! That was fast. Did you run in the corridors again? I just don't know how to voice her character, honestly, because she doesn't have that kind of energetic kind of voice, like... Or that kind of... I don't know, it really is, like he says. She kind of stands out compared to everyone else. Like, Lily has that calm kind of, like, composed. Misha and Emmy have a similar kind of, like, upbeat kind of approach to things. Shizune doesn't speak, so it's like we just got Misha for that. And then there's Hanako, who's only spoken a few times, and she's kind of, like... overly shy, obviously, and kind of reserved, doesn't like to interact with anyone other than Lily, it seems. And then there's the librarian, who is like just clumsy, but with Rin it's just like, what the hell do you do with a voice for that? I'm a guy, man. How the hell am I supposed to come up with a believable, well, voice for a female character in general, but especially for Rin, because she seems like the kind of like aloof, I think, kind of character. I don't know what word to use. The kind of character that's just kind of like, yeah, I'm kind of like, I'm here, I'm there, and I'm everywhere. I'm just kind of just weird, essentially, but hey, doesn't matter. I don't even know what I'm even talking about. It just feels like, when you look at her, it feels like her voice would have like a kind of like, I suppose like maybe I'd like envision it as a kind of somewhat monotone, but with life to it at the same time. I don't even know what I'm even talking about. Emmy points victoriously at me. Rin turns around, following Emmy's finger with her eyes, looking at my general direction. She nods absent-mindedly at me. She looks like she hasn't slept since last night. A vacant a stare that's focused slightly off me, and movements like in a slow-motion movie. Hello, Sal. Thank you for the help. No mention it. I just did. Never mind. Looks like you made progress. Looking good as far as I can tell. But now you get more bad luck. I know, but I'm willing to take the risk. That's a very nice thing to say, for me, of course, not for you. This is why artists are always unlucky. They have to constantly look at their unfinished paintings. So artists can't find romance. Their favorite TV shows are cancelled, or they die young because of an unexpected disease. The deep and mysterious law of the universe. Unless they are blind. She considers this for a while, looking like she's going to fall asleep. There is a boy. At the art club, you see. Blind boy, so he doesn't see. You already told me. I glance sideways at Emmy, and she glances back in a way that tells she has heard this one before too. None of us say anything to Rin, though, so she continues her monotone. So she is speaking in a monotone. Slowly, like an unfunny stand-up comedian. You should become an artist, no bad luck guaranteed. Don't you think that would be a good idea? That only blind people should become artists? No, not as such. You might have a point. Abandon this train of thought, she turns again to consider her work and starts humming a tune that I think I recognize, but can't remember the name of. Emmy arranges supplies we bought and moves a few paint cans around, trying to bring some organization to the scene. Amy, I need the Persian blue paint. Which one's Persian blue? She's staring helplessly at 7 or 8 cans, each with a different tone of blue. It's the one with Persian blue paint in it. Jeez, Ray, you're not helping at all. I look around as well, even though I don't know what Persian blue looks like. Color, I wonder what blue has to do with Persia. Persia, or what Persia even is. The name sounds vaguely familiar, but I can't place it. Why don't the blues look more Persian than the others? The small prints on the labels is legible enough to determine that. None say anything about the contents being Persian. There's no Persian blue here. We need to go get more then. I hope my mouth to say that actually we're not both needed for such a simple task like finding another pot of Persian blue, but Emmy's already grabbed my arm and started dragging me off. I waved to Rin, who doesn't seem to have noticed that the two of us are even leaving. Well, she knows when she goes for a Persian blue and finds out it's still not there. Maybe. Probably not, actually. While I'm busy thinking of how weird Rin is, Emmy's been dragging me back to the art classroom. I feel myself starting to run out of breath. What's the rush? Huh? Emmy's giving me an appraising look as if she's trying to figure something out. It's just that you seem to be in a hurry. Not sure I can keep up. Comprehension dawns on her face. You're not out of breath, are you? There's an almost accusing playfulness to her tone. I'm tempted to nod, but then I realize that I've been breathing heavy since we stopped. Guess it's kind of obvious. A little, not everybody can be in shape, you know. Takes all kinds, right? Emmy frowns. It's not a particularly good frown. That is, I should get in shape. Not that I hadn't already decided to try for that. After that flood on the track, I figured there's a real need to get in some sort of running habit. I was, after all, feeling pretty good until I had my false alarm. Well, actually, it wasn't, but it was fun. Meanwhile, my comment seems to have helped Emily come to some sort of a decision. Well, that's it then. She gives me a serious look. You're joining me. I beg your pardon? In the mornings. You and I are now running partners. I've got a routine all planned out, in fact. She produces a crumpled sheet of paper. I've got it right here with me. I took a sheet of paper and give it a once-over. Times, dates, and laps all laid out. A slow increase from just a few laps a day to... My God, does she expect me to have me running marathons? And where did she find the time to get this all together? How long has she been planning this anyway? You've been planning this? A little. But it's really a nurse's idea. He told me to keep an eye on you to make sure you exercise like he told you to. A vast conspiracy? Maybe Kenji's on to something here. This seems a bit much for just keeping an eye on me. Well, to be honest, I've been trying to find a running partner in the morning for a while now. My God, Kenji, if you could see the scheme unfolding! What do you need a partner for anyway? It's easier to keep up a workout if you're not the only one doing it. Gotta give it on that. It's true. It's like I said with the whole gym thing. I might go to the gym tomorrow, actually, as I'm, recording this. But, it was much easier when, I'd, meet up with someone at the gym. Because it gives you, something actually, you have to be there. It seems more kind of mandatory. It feels like, if you're not there, then they're there. It's gonna be you just, the whole thing falls apart, man. But now that isn't the case, so it's just a case of, can I be asked to go? You know? When you're actually, doing something like that with someone else, it makes you more motivated, because you actually have another reason for being there. Because otherwise, you're just letting the other person down, so it feels like it motivates you more to actually, do that. Isn't that obvious? You're not less likely to quit if someone else is counting on you to be there, right? I see, and this won't only keep you running, but make sure that I keep running as well. Meaning that I'll be obeying the nurse. I'll be keeping an eye on you, just like you asked. You call on quicker, Sal. And if I refuse? I have no intention of refusing, of course. But I got to at least put up a token resistance to such a masterfully executed plan. Well, if you refuse, I'd have to pounce. and you'd have to live with being the guy who made Emmy Barazaki pout. You don't want to be on that to be on your conscience, do you? As if to demonstrate, Emmy begins pouting. It's the most adorable, heart-wrenching thing I've ever seen. Okay, I'll do it. Just don't do that. I feel like I just hit a puppy. So it's settled, right? You're going to be my running partner while I work out? And the dietary plan. Dietary plan? Yeah, the dietary plan. You've got to eat healthy if you're going to get in shape, you know. I examined the workout routine closely. I don't see a dietary plan on here. Alright, I forgot to give that to you. An old crumpled sheet of paper is produced and handed over. It's somewhat less detailed. Had the nurse help me come up with it. The amount of dedication that the nurse has to keep me in good health is pretty overwhelming. I don't know many school nurses who would get one of their students inspiring me, much less help come up with a dietary plan. Then again, I guess I'm not in a normal school. And maybe that's not such a bad thing. Then again, the dietary plan seems to cut out just about everything that will be offered at the festival tomorrow. So when does our running start? After the festival. Right after? Or what if I've had something to eat there? I could get a stomachache, you know. I meant the day after the festival. I knew that. Wasn't there something we were doing? Oh, I guess we should get that painful rain, huh? Oh no, it slipped my mind. By the time we get the paint and get back to the mural, Raiden's already wandered off. Oh well. Amy and I both decided to part ways there, leaving the paint on the ground. Rin will find it whenever she comes back anyway. Festival tomorrow, I'm actually a little excited for it. Same time, the week's left me feeling pretty tired, so I'll read a little and then go to bed. I can't remember how it goes, and my guitar's out of tune, it seems. So screw it. The next day, I wake up feeling a little lightheaded. It's almost noon already. Screw figuring out the key. Anyway, I'm gonna call it a recording here, essentially, so I'll see you next time, viewers. See you next time.